What stood out for me is the fact that every guy in here is more jacked than the guy before him. AJ, who's played by Courtney Burrell, he is a really fit guy. His younger brother is played by Rome Flynn. This dude is jacked. And then if you think that's not good enough, the next sister's boyfriend is played by David Otunga, who's a WWF wrestler or WWE wrestler, former wrestler, and this dude is super jacked. This movie is geared for women. This is strictly eye candy for women, and that's fine. You know, girls, you deserve your place at the table to Google guys, and that's who am I? Who are any other guys that say you don't deserve your film too? And this is it. Perry made sure that you got your place at the table to enjoy the eye candy in this movie. Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I am your host, Ray Schoenberg, and today, well, I won't say today, once a month I get the privilege to host and review a Razzie-nominated film. So to put into some context, it's the third Monday of every month I get to review a Razzie-nominated film, and today I've got the great fortune, great fortune, to review Tyler Perry's Madea's Funeral. This came out in 2019. It is written, directed, and stars Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry plays, four characters. He plays the matriarch, or the title role, Madea, Brian, Joe, and Heathrow. Is it Heathrow? Yeah, it's Heathrow. And to round off the core cast, you have Patrice Lovely playing Hattie, and you have Cassie Davis playing Aunt Bam. Everyone else is pretty much unknown. Their first time appearances in the movie. Well, there's one character who makes a small appearance, and we have Mike Tyson who plays Roy. Now, I think Madea has maybe 9 extended families, totaling over 100 people who are related to her and to Joe, her brother. So it's a little strange. So, and I think that's why I think if you're looking in terms of the context of reality, they had to stop because they have too many family members that they go to, and it doesn't make sense. It's not realistic. It's like what it reminds me of? Murder, She Wrote. There's Jessica Fletcher. She always has a cousin or a nephew, most likely a nephew or a niece, who's always in trouble. And at this point, you would think that her brother, who passed away in the pilot or whatever it was, had a bunch of children, or she had other brothers and sisters that we never heard of, and they have a bunch of kids because it's a lot for 7 seasons and 22 episodes, and I think about 80 nephews and nieces that needs Aunt Jessica. It's a little off. So, let's get into this movie. I'm losing track. So, according to IMDb, because I want to make this as authentic as possible. It's the IMDb brief as you will would be the following: a joyous family reunion becomes a hilarious nightmare as Madea and her crew travel to the backwards of Georgia, where they find themselves unexpectedly planning a funeral that might unveil unsavory family secrets. So, as I just mentioned, they're visiting a family, and this family has a lot of skeletons in the closet. Okay, so it's a funeral. Now, I'm going to give away the spoiler alert for this movie is the person who dies is the father. Now, I don't know if it's a big deal, but hand to God, for the first 40 minutes of this movie, I had no idea who died. Even until we get to the wake, I had no idea who died in this movie, because the person who dies in the hotel, when we find the body, to me, looks like a white guy. I thought he was maybe an Italian mafioso guy, because I had no idea. And I'm not being racist. I thought the dude who died in the bed there was white. Honest truth. So when they had the wake with the mother, and they're trying to hide the fact that the father had an affair, was unfaithful, which was funny. I'll get into that in a second. It took me a good 10 minutes to clue in. oh, it's the father, because it was like it didn't look like he didn't look black. And so when you see the father for the first time, the scene I believe it is when the mother and the father get, I think they get off a cab, they arrive at the house, and they walk through the front lawn. And they seem very lovey-dovey. The father is very promiscuous with the wife, and they seem really much in love. Old-time love. It looks really good. And then you don't see him again until he's in the casket, and that scene is a little raunchy because the casket kind of rises in a very raunchy way. But I had no idea who this dude was, and so when they get to the scene, okay, so to set this up, the first 20 minutes of the movie is like Tyler Perry trying to thread the needle, because he's trying to get everybody, the entire family and his extended family, to get to the hotel at this particular time, because at this time everyone gets or people gets clued into the fact that the father it dies unexpectedly, and he dies with what looks like a prostitute. Now the part that blows my mind after realizing who this woman was is like, I'll give this away because if you're not going to watch this, hopefully this will get you enticed. So you have so the father is in his underwear and straps, and the woman with leather, and she's looking really, really hot, and you find out that the woman is not a hooker, but in fact the fiance of the youngest brother, or his son. So, and which is like, and the youngest son is like maybe like 22, and so it really is kind of like nefarious. And then you find out the older brother was having an affair with the same person, and he's the one who saw them. He was the one on site who saw who it was that caused the father to have a heart attack or whatever it was, and so he was keeping that to himself, but was being really mean to his wife whenever the wife would confront him. So and that works too in a way, because even though that doesn't make much sense, the older brother, who's I believe the name was AJ, played by Courtney Burrell, he has his comeuppance because he's no innocent flower himself. He's got a lot of skeletons in his closet. So that's kind of interesting to see how that plays out. What I like about this is, in terms of like surprising for me, is that I didn't care about the family at all. The women in this family, besides the mother, they're just side characters. They have no real importance other than projecting the plot forward. Again, because Madea has so many family members, these are just another extended family members who are dismissible. What stood out for me is the fact that every guy in here is more jacked than the guy before him. AJ, who's played by Courtney Burrell, he is a really fit guy. His younger brother is played by Rome Flynn. This dude is jacked. And then if you think that's not good enough, the next sister's boyfriend is played by David Otunga, who's a WWF wrestler, or WWE wrestler, former wrestler, and this dude is super jacked. This movie is geared for women. This is strictly eye candy for women, and that's fine. Girls, you deserve your place at the table to Google guys, and that's who am I? Who are any other guys that say you don't deserve your film too? And this is it. Perry made sure that you got your place at the table to enjoy the eye candy in this movie. The movie had 7 nominations in total, and all 7s were Razzies, which I guess for a Tyler Perry movie, you know what? It's okay, because this man is a billionaire. I mean, this movie, I think this is one of his more expensive budgets. $20 million budget to make this movie, and it comes back with $74 million worldwide. So he's not doing too bad for himself. And I know he did Acrimonium in another film that was already in production or was in the works. And so this movie was pushed back, I think, 2 years, because Acrimonium and another movie was set to be released. So this was pushed back, I think, to I think it was made in 2017, and it was pushed back to be released in 2019 because of scheduling. When you realize, okay, it's the father, and he was he was doing extramarital affairs, and yeah, so when they're trying to hide it from the mother, like why he was there, it was like Marx Brothers, Three Stooges. I mean, Madea would slap Aunt Pam or Hattie or anyone else, or Joe, anyone else who would try to like just explain or slip of the tongue like what really happened, because it's kind of like the woman's gone through enough. I mean, her husband's dead. You don't want to find out like right then and there, like, oh, he was fooling around. So it was really, really funny. I really enjoyed it. So that was kind of fun. That was kind of one of the highlights of this movie. A second highlight, I gotta say, I'm not gonna really like rag on this film, even though it was a nominated for a Razzie. The character of Heathrow and Joe, when they got to the church and they were riffing on everyone around them, I think that was actually quite fun. I actually really enjoyed that. In fact, like, considering how long this movie was, it was like an hour and 49 minutes. It was 109 minutes. This movie went pretty fast, and I actually enjoyed the comedy between Madea and the main crew. When it comes to the cast members, like the girls, realistically, honest truth, I didn't care. It's just drama, and what the thing about Madea films, or Tyler Perry films, most of them when they started off are about like faith, overcoming some sort of harsh reality like abuse, infidelity, and they have some really strong dramatic beats to it. And this one, like Boo and Medea's Halloween, is funny. There's AJ, which is Courtney Burrell's character. I mean, his is the one character I think at the end, I mean, you can really turn on. I mean, he was selfish, and he was a character that you really did not like, and anything that happened to him, the burdens of what he had to go through, I mean, he did it to himself. So, and that's fine, and that's good to have an antagonist, protagonist character, and spin it that way. But yeah, these guys were so jacked. I couldn't believe how big these guys are. The character, yeah, overall, I mean, I enjoyed the movie. There's very few things I can say that's bad about it. So with that, I am Ray. We'll talk to you later.